So we're about a year out, but we're already getting our first details on Casters Cup 2023. To kick us off this week, we're actually going to talk about the Discord medals. We got another update that let us know that MetaZoo's going to be working with What's Your Passion to create the real bronze, silver, and gold cards that they'll be handing out as part of the Discord community medals. Now, we still don't have any details on how they're going to decide to hand those out. It does not seem like it's going to be rank-based. They have mentioned in the past that they want to find a way to do it that's fair for those who are existing in the community now and those who have been part of the community in the past. I think it's a very interesting idea because there have been people who have been very influential to the community that may not be as active in the Discord now, and they want to recognize those people. So I think it's a good sign that we're getting updates that they are already deciding to work with What's Your Passion. It means that progress is moving forward. And honestly, I think this is an amazing idea and that these cards are going to be quite collectible for the people that get them. So I'm really excited that they're taking their time, figuring this out, working with a trusted partner, and that we'll get more details in the future. The What's Your Passion jewelry drop happened on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and it took about a little over 2 hours to sell out. The pendants went up on the marketplace for $130 plus shipping. It comes with a pendant, but no necklace. The pendants will be accompanied by a passion promo of the same type and beastie. So if you got a gold Mothman, you'll get a gold Mothman passion promo. Or if you got a silver hoop snake, you'll get a silver hoop snake passion promo. And it was mentioned that there'll be one other promo in the box as well. So for $130, you're getting the pendant, you're getting the passion promo, and you're getting some other card in the box. And I believe that is going to be related to whatever the beastie of the pendant is. So if you pull Mothman, you're going to get a special Mothman card. Is that going to be a reprint or a new card? It's not quite clear at this time. So if you did participate in this drop, good luck getting the beastie that you want to get. Alongside the announcement that What's Your Passion had sold out, we got a teaser image of the Trick No Treat masks. Now these are just the mock-ups or the molds for the masks, but you get a good sense of what they're going to look like and what the size of the mask is going to be. And the masks that we got to see were Loveland, Momo, Indrid, Mothman, and Lechuza. Now, with Halloween being a little over 2 weeks away, I would hope that we're past the mold phase at this time, because we're really going to need to have these in hand if we are expecting to hand them out on Halloween. We got an announcement that the NFT Pinclub promos and the Flork promos are going to be shipping soon. Usually that means within the next few weeks. The NFT promo was supposed to be inside the NFT Pinclub boxes, but was not ready in time to be shipped with those boxes. So those will be shipping out to you if you bought an NFT box. For the Flork promo, the shirts haven't shipped yet, so it likely means that the shirts will be shipping soon, and since the card is already in its cellophane and ready, they're likely going to be shipped with the shirts. So this is a really good indication that things are on track for the Flork shirts to be shipping to us within the next few weeks. Now the street date for Seance is at the end of this week, and we did get a look at one of the blisters with Wingok. So it would seem that the blisters are ready and in the warehouse, ready to be shipped out to partners. The blister packs themselves are generally the first thing to sell out. They're a low-cost item, so they're cost-effective for people to purchase. And in the grand scheme, with only 50,000 blister packs or 12,500 of each promo, people try to collect those pretty quickly. Now usually by now we also have a look at the theme decks before they ship out, we have a look at the spellbooks before they ship out, but we haven't actually seen those wrapped up and in cellophane yet. Now MetaZoo's been pretty busy with things like New York City Comic-Con and other events that are going on. Denver Collecticon was just this past weekend, so it's entirely possible that they're just focusing on other things and that those will come in the future, or we may not actually get a tease for those before we have them in hand. And as I just mentioned, Denver Collecticon was over this last weekend. There was a very interesting ruling for the legality of the cards in the tournament, and that's that Seance was not allowed. Now, Seance was officially released early at New York City Comic-Con. Attendees could buy booster boxes and open them up and start their collection. However, since the street date for Seance has not hit yet, it's not generally available, they have decided that you cannot use them in the Denver Collecticon tournament. And this is an interesting ruling in case it comes up in the future. It sets that precedent that because we haven't hit street date yet, even though you have the cards in hand, you cannot use them until the street date happens. This is the same for spoiler pack cards or Collecticon cards as well. Those are legal to use in tournaments. However, since the core set for Seance has not dropped yet, you cannot use those cards. Now at Denver Collecticon, they released the last plushie and promo for the Cumberland Dragon eggs, so we now have the full set of eggs going from the unhatched egg all the way up to the chibi Cumberland Dragon. And regarding Denver, we got a very interesting tidbit of information from Mike that they're not going to be doing Collecticon packs going forward. So Denver is the last Collecticon that you'll be able to get Collecticon spoiler packs. Now, this is interesting because it could mean two things. It could simply mean that they don't want to do Collecticon spoiler packs. Maybe they'll just stick with the regular spoiler packs with the set stamp on it. Or it could mean something much bigger. It's possible that maybe MetaZoo is not going to be doing Collecticons in the future. Now, normally I would just dismiss that as, okay, cool, they're just reducing their spoiler product line and just sticking with the regular ones. But when you couple this information with what we know about Casters Cup 2023 being held at New York City Comic Con next year, it does seem like they might be pulling away from Collecticons. With how successful something like the Mothman Festival was, and we know of the upcoming Frogman Festival, it's entirely possible that they're going to focus on smaller, more targeted events where MetaZoo will be the prime TCG at the events. With something like a Collecticon, you're competing with many other different trading cards. You're competing with Cryptid, you're competing with My Hero Academia, and so many more. So when I think about this news, I think it makes sense that they might try to focus on things where they can be the sole attention for the TCG market. So will MetaZoo be at next year's Collecticons? We're gonna have to find out. Now, something I'm really excited for, if you haven't guessed it from the previous videos, is Salem. It's close to where I am, I'm going to be going, and we got to look at this image here, which is the ticket to get into Salem. It features the Chibi Salem witches on the ticket, and on the ticket we can see a spot for them to be numbered, which is just going to add to the collectability of these tickets after the event. And MetaZoo did announce that they're going to provide more details for Salem over the weekend, so I will drop something early on next week to go over the details for that event, because it's a big deal. We had a number of winners announced already that get to go to Salem, and those include, from the contest they did with Giveaway Bot, which had 973 entries, we have Hungrier Hippo, Carl V2, Spike Mike K, N Brown 85, T Tyler 88, Nexigen, Rykarth Yoda, Trill Cards, Riddler 23, and Xanakin. From the costume contest, we have Colin Augustus, Peter Griffson, Keese, Frenchie Icon, Polyswole, Arbiter, Spooky Kelpshake, Monster, Spook Queen 35031, and Boba Threat Mike C. For the pumpkin carving contest winners, we have Admiral Clang, Abysmal Artorias, CT Towers, Hollywood, Headless Wayward Caster, Angry Julian, Megs, Shanimal, Latest Undead, and Dova Cakes. And after those were announced, Mike had actually said, hey moderators, let's make that 20 winners of each. 10 additional winners were announced for the pumpkin carving contest, and those are Rhett, The Dankest Soup, Metaphantoms, Jame, Fairy, Spooky Big Al Boo, JC Me Kraken, Odd Aliendry, Non-Spooky Professor Dingbat, and the Panty Raid. And alongside that, Andy announced that, oh right, did I mention that not only do our winners that show up to Salem get 3 of these bad boys, which are pumpkin carving promos, but everyone else that participated up until tonight at midnight also gets one. So obviously this is being announced a little late, but there are pumpkin carving promos that will be given out at Salem, or if you participated in the event. The 10 additional winners for the costume contest have yet to be picked at the time of this recording. If you want to own a piece of MetaZoo original art, you can now on Goldin. The announcement never came through from MetaZoo, but Goldin put out a tweet that MetaZoo original art pieces are for sale on Goldin. They're running for about 2 weeks, and you can bid to have the art and your own collection. For what's up right now, everything starts at about $500, so be ready to pay out for that, but this is original art from the artists. And if you're buying or selling anything on Goldin, depending on how much you buy or sell, you have the ability to get a MetaZoo promo card. If you ordered your tarot cards during the New York City Comic Con event, hopefully those will be shipping soon. We have an announcement from Mike saying that the boxes have arrived in the warehouse. Now, given the fact that Seance is out at the end of this week, I had imagined that they were going to move fast with this. because there are many cards in that set that require tarot cards to be played. Now, you don't need to use official MetaZoo tarot cards to be able to play those cards, but come on, it's a MetaZoo tarot card. So we don't have an official shipping date for those yet, but I imagine it's soon if they're in the warehouse. Now, if we look at last week's trivia, I had asked something that was way too complex and actually had multiple answers now that we look back on it. So I'm going to give credit to everybody that answered the question because there was basically no wrong answer. The question itself was, if you use Call of the Storm to bring out a Ketz and a Thunderbird, and your opponent has a Chase Gallery, nighttime is active in the arena, and the Ketz attacks the Chase Gallery, who's left at the end of combat? Now, what I had forgot about was Paralyze on the Ketz. So there's actually multiple answers here that could leave one or two beasties in the arena at the end of combat. Ketz could attack Chase Gallery, not Paralyze. It would be destroyed by Chase Gallery, which would then destroy the Thunderbird, and the Chase Gallery would be the last beastie left in the arena after combat with 10 LP left. Now it gets much more tricky to answer if Paralyze hits, because if Paralyze on the Ketz hits, Chase Gallery doesn't hit back. Thunderbird can then be used to finish off Chase Gallery. Call of the Storm then happens, and you need to get rid of either Ketz or Thunderbird, and you obviously choose Thunderbird, leaving one left in the arena, so there's another answer where one is left. And the third answer being 2, this is a little less likely because why wouldn't you attack with both the Ketz and the Thunderbird? But it's the same scenario, except the Thunderbird doesn't attack and kill the Chase Gallery, Call of the Storm then resolves and you get rid of the Thunderbird. So I apologize for picking a too complex question. I'm going to give it to everybody, so everybody is here on the spin wheel, and we're going to spin that to figure out who gets this week's gift card for $15 to Immortal Workshop. And the winner is Nerdy Shrooms 99. And for this week's trivia question, if you are controlling a gargantuan glider and your opponent is controlling 3 beaver sharks, you use your gargantuan glider to attack the opposing caster. The opposing caster blocks with all 3 beaver sharks. How much damage makes it through to caster? Answer that question correctly and you'll be in the running for next week's $15 gift card to Immortal Workshop. Now for this week's top story, I wanted to talk about Caster's Cup 2023. It was announced this week that they're planning to do it at New York City Comic-Con next year. So we're getting a year's notice on the event. When that was announced, the chat erupted into a hailstorm of comments. People are very opinionated on this matter. And a fair amount of people did not think it was a good idea to do it at New York City Comic-Con. Now, I'm of the opposite camp. I think it's an amazing idea to do it at the Comic-Con. Now, when I said that, I was hit with some comments about the cost to get into Comic-Con and the cost to be at the event. But when you think about the cost of actually traveling to New York City, getting your hotel, and getting into the event is really not where you're spending your money when you go to something like this. It's your hotel costs and your travel that are going to be much higher than your event costs. Now for this year's Comic-Con, I wasn't able to attend, but I did look up tickets a couple hours after they went live, and I was still able to find them for $250 for a 4-day pass on the actual New York Comic-Con website. So this wasn't a secondary market type find. So if you know when the tickets are going to drop and you can get on and get those tickets, if you do it early, you're going to be able to get a reasonable price to enter the convention. And it's fair to say that some people have to work or they can't make it, so by the time that they are available to purchase their tickets, scalpers may have already purchased those and are selling them on the secondary market for 4 times the cost of what they were when you could buy them at normal price. That's fair, and I have an idea on that later. So the compromise that Mike had come up with after this hailstorm of comments about this was that they'd consider holding the first part of the tournament off-site. Do it at a convention center that's not New York City Comic-Con, so you don't have to pay to get into the convention to be able to participate. Now, I'm not huge on this idea. Yes, it saves a couple dollars for people that couldn't get tickets to New York City Comic-Con. Again, the major cost of you being there is your travel and your hotel room. So it really doesn't save much, and what it does is actually hurt the event, in my opinion. Because New York City Comic-Con has a game hall. Mike had said that My Hero Academia used that game hall, and they have a 40-foot by 40-foot booth there as well, which would provide more brand recognition for MetaZoo. Now let's just say you compete in Caster's Cup, you go to the event outside of New York City Comic-Con, You don't make the top cut. You don't make the top 64 or 32. The top 64 or 32 would then be moved into New York City Comic Con, and you couldn't watch unless you bought a ticket. So really, it's not saving you much if you want to be there for the full event anyway. And I think that a lot of people that would compete in Caster's Cup are also going to want to go to the convention to get the exclusives anyway. So most likely, maybe not all 4 days they would have to buy tickets, but they're still likely going to buy tickets to be there for the spoiler packs and everything else that happens at the convention. The big loss, however, would actually be on the MetaZoo awareness side, and that's because you're taking your big part of your event. If we look back at Caster's Cup this year, it was 312 people who participated. It's going to be bigger next year, with the prize pool being at $1.25 million. By holding the convention off-site, you're missing that wow factor that people at the convention experience by seeing this massive group of MetaZoo players playing in a tournament at the convention. So what do I think the compromise is? Well, I think the compromise is that Caster's Cup 2023 should not be a free event. I think that what MetaZoo should do is understand how many people they're going to be bringing into the convention, work with New York City Comic Con to get tickets ahead of time for all of the entrants. That way those who are participating in the event are getting the lowest possible cost to entry to the convention. If MetaZoo is bringing in literally hundreds of people for multiple days, it's not unfathomable for them to be able to work out a deal with the convention center. So what you might be able to see is maybe a $50 cost to entry to participate in Caster's Cup 2023, but that covers your entry into the convention. That benefits both you, the player, for being able to get into the convention at a cost that is reasonable and something that you don't have to wait for tickets to go live and jump on, while also benefiting MetaZoo by getting all of those players at the convention and getting people to notice that something's going on in the convention hall. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I know it's not the most popular opinion that's out there right now in terms of Caster's Cup 2023. We are still a year out, so there's a lot that could change, a lot that can be ironed out in that time. We still have to do towers even, which has been hinted at as a way to qualify for Caster's Cup 2023. And that's honestly one of the biggest reasons I'm excited for the announcement for NYCC being the Caster's Cup 2023 venue, is because it allows more time for the tower events to take place. I no longer feel like we need to rush to get through towers. We actually have some leeway to get to the first tower now, and can do one a month until Caster's Cup 2023, if that's how it works out. Now, we have started seeing the tower promos recently, so I do believe that we're pretty close to the first event. Well, that's all I had to cover for this week. I would suggest you check out the latest episode of Cryptid Conversations, where we talk about the New York City Comic Con this year, as well as our thoughts on New York City Comic Con for next year. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.